The aviation industry is right now going through the most existential crisis in its over 100-year history. Thousands of pilots are either furloughed or have lost their jobs permanently, and tens of thousands of people in the aviation industry and the travel industry and the hospitality industry are facing the same fate. This is by far the blackest Black Friday I can remember during my 18 years as a pilot. But there is light in the tunnel. Right now, we are seeing the first indications of a potential rebound, and that is what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. I hope that you're all doing absolutely fantastic. You're welcome to the Mentour Pilot channel. Stay tuned. This video is brought to you together with NordVPN. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I find myself sitting and using my electronic devices more and more, especially during this pandemic. And actually, last week, I managed to travel for the first time. Now, in these times, the cyber criminals are going rampant. I don't know how many attacks I've had towards my account and my friend's account during this time. So protecting yourself from cyber criminals has never been more important than it is right now. That's where you need a strong VPN. And NordVPN is among the best VPNs on the market. They have a vast networks of servers all over the world, which makes them really fast to use. There's no data logging, there's 24/7 support, and with whatever deal that you use with them, you'll get access to 6 different devices, which means that you can protect your whole household and all of the devices on there. Now, if you use the link down here, which is nordvpn.org/pilot, and the coupon code PILOT, you'll get a 68% discount on any deal that you choose. But because it's Black Friday today, they have a special deal. So if you choose a 2-year deal, well, then you'll get a whopping 4 months absolutely for free. So go down, use the link below and the coupon code PILOT and start protecting yourself on the internet today. So before we start this video, which is a positive video, I promise you, you need to understand that the aviation business right now is divided into 2 groups. All right, and it's not the groups that you think about. It's not long haul versus short haul or low fares versus flag carriers. No, what we're talking about is well-financed airlines, not well-financed airlines. Okay, and the way that these 2 groups are divided is crucial to understand what is likely going to happen now during the next year. So if we look at how the industry responded to this crisis in February, March, when this started, all of the airlines kind of did the same thing, all right? They started trying to cut costs wherever they could. They started grounding their fleets. They started to furlough employees, started to try to lower the salaries for everyone working in the airline, both pilots, cabin crew, and people working in the office. Okay, so this is understandable that everyone did kind of the same thing because no one knew how long this crisis was going to take. So it's all about trying to conserve cash. Okay, most of the airlines were facing, millions of people needed to get refunds for flights that was never going to be flown, and what most people don't understand is that the airline business runs on the prepaid flights. So, for example, during the winter months, because there's a lot of people that are booking their tickets for the summer month, well, then the airlines have cash flow during the winter months, even though there's not too much people flying. They live through that during the winter, and then during the summer, they generate some of the revenue. But of course, when this happened, now that money that they were supposed to live on during the winter had to be paid back to the customers. And that got a lot of airlines into a really bad place financially. But anyway, this led to airlines that were poorly financed to start with being in immediate crisis, right? This is why you have seen airlines been asking for states, for countries to bail them out, for rescue packages. So on the side of the industry, of the airlines that weren't very well financed, that actually was struggling even before this crisis started, you will see this tendency of trying to cut costs, of lowering their fleet numbers, of scrapping more expensive aircraft, of pulling out of different bases and stuff. That is likely going to continue, okay? Because that's really the only thing that they can do. So on the side of the business, which was well financed, and that's different type of airlines, both long haul, short haul, in different parts of the world, they are in a slightly different position, all right? They have the possibility to strike back when they see that there is an opening, okay? They are suffering just the same, right? They are also losing money now, but since they were well financed to start with, this means that they have lower costs on, for example, leasing aircraft. Most of them own large part of their fleets, so leasing costs are down, and they can go out and ask the stock market, for example, to get financing to a much lower interest rate than an airline that doesn't have a good economy to start with. So it's easier for airlines that were well run and well financed to start with to finance themselves through a crisis like this and kind of come out in an attack situation, an attack position, an offense position, when they see that the things are turning around. So what's happening right now then? How can I sit here and say that I see the first rays of light in a situation as dark as it is right now? Well, the obvious answer to that is that we've started to see the first news about vaccines. Okay, some of the major vaccine pharmaceutical companies out there have gone through their phase 3 trials and it's been positive. And even though there are still some issues when it comes to how to actually distribute all of these vaccines throughout the world, the fact that the vaccines are starting to come and that countries are starting to have plans on how to vaccinate the most vulnerable and the people working in the healthcare industry, for example, sends a signal out to people, all right? And that signal is that there's an end to this. And when that signal is being perceived by people out there, you can ask yourself, just ask your closest friends, ask them what they would do if all of the restrictions were lifted and the virus was not a threat anymore. What's the first thing they would do? Most of them, after they've said that they would just go out to a restaurant with their friends, is probably going to say, I want to travel. I want to go somewhere. I want to, breathe fresh air again, see new things and experience new things. So when that happens, now the vaccines have been released, people are starting to think like that, right? A large amount of people are starting to think like that. And that means that there is a high chance of a rebound in the industry coming into the coming summer. Now, we might not see the same volumes. We probably won't see the same volumes as we saw during the record year of 2019. But that's not really the point here. The point I want to make is that if there is a sentiment out there, and we're already starting to see some more positive signs when it comes to forward bookings for the summer, well, in that case, these airlines, the ones that were well financed, they are now starting to look into how can we use this situation to our advantage? How can we grab market share? Because no matter what happens, guys, the airline industry after COVID-19 is going to look much different than before. Okay? That doesn't mean that it's either good or bad or neutral. We don't know yet. We're going to have to look into that later on. But there will be an airline business. And as long as there are people willing to fly, there's going to be airlines there willing to fly them. And those airlines, they are going to need pilots to fly them, cabin crew to fly them, engineers to take care of their aircraft, ground handlers to hold their bags, hotels to take care of their customers. Okay? So what kind of signs am I actually seeing right now? Well, if we start in North America, we have Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is an absolutely amazing airline in my view. It is the mother of all low-fare airlines. They kind of were the ones who were using the low-fare concept before anyone else at a large scale. And they've had an amazing 47 straight years of profits. Now that's almost unheard of in the aviation industry. It won't last, all right? They will have their first year of losses this year. All airlines out there will. But if you have 47 years of profits up in there, it's likely that you're in a fairly good financial situation. And you can probably talk about refinancing yourself with pretty good interest rates. And what we're seeing from Southwest right now is that from August this year, they have launched their biggest ever expansion. All right, they're going into 10 new airports and they're cutting frequency on some of their more frequent routes, and instead they are widening out. Right? They're spreading out their flights and they're looking for what they call low-hanging fruit, which is basically go and fly where they see that the passengers are. They fly to beach destinations, Miami, for example. They are trying to fly to ski destinations because they think that people are likely going to go skiing this year. All right? So they're taking advantage and they're picking up slots in airport where the more traditional carriers are now hunkering down and not using the slots and the parking in the same way. They are going in there now and they are building their infrastructure for when the passengers comes back. So when people come back flying, Southwest is going to be there and they're going to be able to avail of a much bigger market than they could before. Offense. Now in Europe, it's a little bit different, but you can still see the same kind of tendencies. So in the beginning of the year, I did an episode about ghost flights. All right, if you haven't seen it, you can check it out up here. But basically, ghost flights were flights being flown empty for no reason other than to keep the slots. Because in the European Union, we have a rule, generally speaking, during normal times, that says that if an airline has bought slots into a popular airport, say London Heathrow or London Gatwick, for example, they need to utilize 80% of those slots in order to keep them. All right? If that airline have gotten the slots, and say that they have gotten 10 slots a day and they only use 6 of them, well then the remaining slots is going to go out into the market for other airlines to buy and start operating. And that's to make sure that they always operate and utilize the airport to its maximum capacity. Now that works fantastic during normal times. But of course, COVID-19 year of 2020 is not a normal year. So what happened in the beginning of the year was that the airlines went out and they complained to the European Commission and said, this rule, it doesn't make sense anymore. We're all hunkering down. No one wants to fly. Let's see if we can waive this rule for a while to make sure that we don't have to go out and fly aircraft just for the sake of flying them. And the European Commission agreed and they waived the 80-20 rule for a while. They did it once and they did it the second time. And at the moment, the rules are waived up until March 2021. Now, like I said in the beginning, all airlines were happy with this. Low-fare airlines were happy with this, flag carriers were happy with this, everyone was happy with this in the beginning, okay? Because everyone was following the same strategy, everyone was hunkering down. No one wanted to start to operate early and find themselves losing money again. Now, some airlines during the summer tried to start up a little bit, tried to fly a little bit more, but what happened was that all of the European countries, none of them could kind of agree on a common set of rules. So sometimes you could fly to the United Kingdom without having to be in quarantine, and then all of a sudden you had to, and those kind of things basically stopped people from traveling. So the airlines that tried to start up during the summer very quickly had to kind of backtrack on that and go back into hibernation. But now, what's starting to happen right now is that some airlines are starting to think twice about the waiving of this rule. And last week, we in the Mentour Pilot team from mentorpilot.com wrote an article about the CEO of Wizz Air, how he went out and actually said that he did not want a further extension of the waiver. Right? He thought that up until March 2021 is fine, but after that, we need to get that rule back into place again. Now, why would he say that? Well, the only real reason that you would want to waive that rule is if you wanted to start availing of these slots. Because if you see a possibility, your airline is on the offense and they want to expand and go into new airports. Well, as long as this waiver is in place, it's status quo, right? Whoever had the slots keeps the slots. But if the rule starts being enforced again, well then the airlines that have the slots but cannot utilize them for economical reasons, they're going to lose their slots. all right? And new airlines can come in and snatch those slots up and start utilizing them. So if you're an airline that wants to expand, that wants to grab market share after this crisis, then obviously you are going to want that rule to come back into place so that you can start grabbing these slots. And that's what we're seeing. Now, on top of that, I would not be surprised if we, within the next couple of weeks or so, is going to see some large either orders or some airlines coming in and asking to get their aircraft that they have on order earlier. So Wizz Air has already been in talks with Airbus to try to get their Airbuses that they have on order earlier. And I am guessing that we are going to see more things like that very soon. And when you do, that is a clear signal that some of these airlines are on the offense, right? They are moving forward to try to shape the aviation world after COVID-19. So like I said before, the aviation world after COVID-19 is going to look very different from what we had before, but that does not need to be a negative thing, okay? So basically, that's what I'm saying. So there's no question that this crisis is going to have long-lasting effects. It's more likely that it's going to be the short, medium, and domestic market that's going to rebound first. It's likely that the long-haul market is going to take way longer to get back. And even if the passenger numbers comes back, if the volume comes back, I predict a price war. There's going to be, crazy prices to fly on both travel and hotels and everything during the next summer, just to entice people to get back into the habit of traveling. So this means that even though the airlines might be flying full aircraft again, they're not getting as much yield, they're not getting as much money as they got in previous years. So the struggle of the airlines are going to continue through 2021, probably into 2022, okay? But if the passenger volume comes back, the jobs will start coming back as well. And that's the thing that we have to both believe and look forward to. That's it, guys. I would love to hear what your thoughts on this is. What do you think? Do you think we're going to rebound in 2021? Do you think it's going to take longer? And why? Go into the comment section below. Let me know exactly what you think. I love hearing from you guys. And if you like this kind of videos, this kind of information, well then I hope that I've earned a subscription for you. So subscribe to the channel and highlight the little notification bell to make sure that you hear all of the things that I send out. So when I do live streams, for example, where you can ask me questions and we can kind of hang out together, well then you won't miss that. And before you go, guys, I have some new merchandise. I'm constantly working on new merchandise, and since it is Black Friday today, not only do we have a great deal with our sponsor, NordVPN, once again check them out, I also have slashed the prices on my merchandise. So if you go to Teespring using the link in the description below or up here, we have up to 50% discount on my entire merch store. So get yourself a nice cup or a hoodie or a t-shirt or whatever that you find in there, maybe a face mask. If the 50% discount doesn't work, the discount code is cyber, then I'm going to have another code for 30% because Teespring works like that. It's a bit weird. But anyway, you find the information in the description of the video here. I hope that you find something you like. Have an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Right, guys, I really hope that you liked that. If you want more content like that, more aviation content, well then, check this out. I hope that you have subscribed to the channel and that you've highlighted the little notification bell. See you inside of the Mentour Aviation app and have an absolutely fantastic day. Bye-bye.